if the dominoes go out of view when you make a mistake, there's no recovering that, and you'll be sad. What's up, Domino community? I'm Chase from Chipio Industries, and if there's one thing that the Domino community is underutilizing, it's filming and editing. So today, I'll be teaching you the basics, as well as some advanced stuff to get you on your way to spicing up your videos. Before you lay a single domino, you need to know where you'll be filming. Of course, the size of the space and the quality of the surface are important, but you can also look into each potential space a bit deeper to determine not just if it's the best place to build in, but if it's also the best place to shoot in. What are some specific camera angles you'd like to get, and are they possible in that room? Can you even get a tripod in there? Are there any unsightly things that you don't want to be visible, and can you move them out of the way? Spatial concerns aren't the only thing to consider. What about the lighting? A general rule of thumb I use is, the more light there is, and the more consistently and evenly it's spread out, the better. For example, my kitchen has the best lighting in the house, because the fixture is large and bright, allowing it to light up the floor evenly. Contrast that with my bedroom, which has one dim light to fill out the entire area. Another factor is the temperature of the lights. No, I'm not talking about how hot they can get, I'm talking about the color. Typical lighting colors range between red and blue, with white in the middle. Since red is often associated with hot and blue is typically associated with cold, it's easy to think of color as a temperature. Now, your camera should automatically change the white balance to revert to normal colors, so you don't necessarily need to worry about that. The reason noting color temperatures is important is because if you have two lights of different colors, then your camera has trouble deciding which one to focus on. So try to use lights that are all the same color. Take these factors into account before selecting a building space, and you will instantly improve your video quality. Depending on the style of video you're going for, and the space on your SD card, you may actually want to hit the record button before you start building. The biggest benefit of this is the ability to capture any fails or mishaps on video, so you can achieve the clickbait of your dreams. However, the more noticeable result of recording the build process is having time-lapse material, which comes in handy for pacing, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Once you've built to your heart's content and it's time to knock down your creation, stop and start the recording. Unless you never started, in which case, forget the stopping part. Double, triple, and quadruple check the framing to make sure it's correct. If you have a large setup and plan on rotating the camera or just using it handheld, make sure you're zoomed out. You can always crop in later if need be, but if the dominoes go out of view when you make a mistake, there's no recovering that, and you'll be sad. If you're using multiple cameras, try to follow the 180-degree rule. Imagine your domino set up as a circle and place all of your cameras in a 180-degree area. Having reverse shots will often confuse the viewer unless there are clear landmarks in the scene. Now, if you are operating a camera, try to have someone else start the topple. I used to try to do both, but I often wound up struggling to focus on one thing or the other. Or when I ran from the start of the line to the camera, the shot would come out jerky and not very good. There's a reason film sets have hundreds of people, and you only need one. So go ask a parent, or a sibling, or a friend, or a dog. Another thing to keep in mind is the sound. You need to make it as quiet as possible. So turn off the TV, tell your sibling to shut up, tell the insurance salesman who keeps calling you to take you off the call list, mute your phone, mute the radio, mute the fridge, mute the dog, mute your... Once the dominoes have fallen, consider recording the cleanup process. It can be used for an end card or something. Alright, let's talk about processing and editing footage is one of those things that gets really technical really fast. So I'm going to do my best to explain all of the basics that anybody can use here and save all of the fun, complicated bits for later. The first step, of course, is to move all of the files onto whatever computer you'll be using to edit. I'd suggest keeping everything in one folder with any other project files you might need. If you've got a lot of footage, you can even organize a bit further and add bins for buildup, knockdown, and cleanup clips. If it's just one domino setup, it's probably not necessary, but if it's a screen link and you have 50 clips, maybe some organization would be necessary. When it comes to editing, keep pacing in mind. You want to quickly introduce the premise to the viewer, build anticipation with a time-lapse or a showcase of the building process, and then provide the payoff of the actual knockdown. The end card serves as a nice cooldown, but it's not completely necessary. A lot of videos do manage to get the pattern down right, but I personally struggled with getting the timing correct. Half of my videos would have little to no build-up at all, and the other half would drag on for what felt like hours. I will say that if you're not sure about it, lean towards making it shorter, not longer. If it's short, no one's gonna really care if the pacing's a bit odd. But if it's too long, the viewer will click off the instant they get bored. Actually, keeping things short is a good rule of thumb in general. Keeping the viewer engaged is essential, and if you've got a 30-second intro, they're either going to skip to whatever part they want to see or leave the video entirely. My intro card is only 5 seconds at the most, and even that often has voiceover playing over the top of it. If you're making a screen link and you're having problems making it seem cohesive, try messing with the audio a bit. If you have the sound of a long continuous domino line available, try patching that over the cuts, or at least shift the cut in the audio away from the cut in the video. That'll help make the change less obvious. Finally, I want to talk about the presets that come with most editing programs and how you should use them. Don't. You know, if I had $1 for every time I recognize the line preset from iMovie, this thing, I could make a Mr. Beast video. And I've never even used iMovie. Try not to use text presets or weird transitions because at the end of the day, they just come off as amateur and cheesy. But they're great for making parodies. Now let's talk about music. In the age of Universal Music Group claiming videos that simply acknowledge their existence, it's important to choose music that is absolutely safe to use. To keep yourself safe, try to only choose songs that are labeled as royalty-free, copyright-free, public domain, that kind of thing. Alternatively, you can spend a few bucks a month on a music library like Epidemic Sound or MusicBed. There's also the YouTube audio library, which gives you music that is guaranteed to be usable. Using all of these tips, tricks, and techniques won't necessarily make your videos 100 times better, but they will help provide an increased level of polish that will hopefully improve the viewing experience. So what's one thing you'd like to improve about your videos, and how do you plan on going about doing that? Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go over to my own channel and explain some more advanced things, like what do all the buttons do?
Chipio Industries, thank you so much for making this amazing video. These are all fantastic tips. I just want to reiterate, you can make a great domino setup, but to take it to the next level and think about video and filming and lighting and framing and editing and all that, it can really, really make your projects look even more spectacular. Thank you for the tips again. Chipio Industries has more videos about editing on his channel if you're interested. How are you going to improve your videos now that you've heard all of these tips? Let us know in the comments, and as always, I'm Hevish Bai, and keep on building.